Hello friends! Today's video is kindly sponsored by Fracture. They are a printing company that specializes in creating prints on glass. I absolutely love how they turned out. The colors are so vibrant and make for a beautiful addition in your home decor, whether you want to hang them on the wall or have it sitting on your desk or shelf like this. So in today's video, I am going to be showing you guys the process of this fun watercolor illustration I did of these two witches at a cafe. And stay tuned for the end of the video where you can see how this illustration turned out printing onto glass. For this painting, after the sketch has been transferred onto the paper and I've taped it down to a board, I give the entire page a nice light wash, and this helps give the whole piece a harmonious color palette. And then from there, I block in the majority of the flat washes for each element of the piece. When Fracture reached out to me about this collaboration, I decided I wanted to create something new as well as print some of my favorite existing artwork. They have a number of size options starting as small as 5x5, which is perfect for sitting on your shelf, and then it goes all the way up until 21 by 28 inches, which is pretty big, and it's nice for like a statement piece in your living room or in your bedroom. So keeping that in mind, how large the prints could go, I decided I wanted to create an illustration that would have a more involved kind of look so that I could take advantage of being able to see all the little details for a bigger print. And that's when I ended up landing on the idea of these vintage-esque witches having some tea at a cute cafe. The majority of the artwork that I make is very vibrant and really bold. So the bulk of the glass prints that I had printed with Fracture, I chose those pieces to reflect that. And I definitely was not disappointed. As you saw at the beginning, they are so saturated and they look so beautiful. And yeah, not only did I feel like the colors were accurate to my original files, but because of the glossy finish of the glass, it really makes the colors pop. And I will say there is obviously a glare, so it was hard to capture on my camera and really do them justice. But to show you guys some variety, for this illustration, I decided to go for a more pastel/muted color palette so that we could see how it would translate in glass form as opposed to just seeing my really saturated bold pieces. And to achieve that, I of course went with watercolors. I feel like watercolors has a more like a lighter, airier feel to it as opposed to gouache, which of course I can still achieve a pastel look, but it has a much heavier kind of appearance to it. So watercolors it was. And admittedly, it had been a while since I tackled a more involved background, so I was very cautious when painting this piece, and so I went in with very thin layers to build the colors and the values. I also try not to use too many different colors so that I didn't overcomplicate the piece as well as didn't overwhelm myself. And I made sure to carry the pinks and the purples, and you'll see in a bit the blue as well throughout the painting to give it a more cohesive appearance. Like you can see how the pink that I'm using for the cafe in the background, I'm using for the skin on the girl. And then for the skin on the darker girl, I used that for the other girl's hair. So that's how I kind of go about choosing my colors for pieces to try and give it, just a more cohesive appearance. And in terms of my inspiration, back in 2017, I did an entire series of different themed witches, and one of them being a rockabilly witch. And I remember at the time, I was so torn about what outfit to give her because I just felt like there was so many good options. So I thought, oh, why not revisit the retro themed witch vibe? That way I can go back in with all the other cute ideas that I had for the outfits. And so for these girls, I particularly drew inspiration from the 50s and the 60s, and if I were given the opportunity, I would absolutely love to wear these. And then for the cafe itself, I pretty much just looked at a bunch of pastel colored cafes on Pinterest, and I threw in a couple witchy nods like the spell books in the window, the tarot-esque cards on the left side table, and some crystals on their treat tray with their little macarons and their teapot. Another reason why I decided to go for this lighter / pastel color palette was because this was for Fracture's spring campaign. And here in Toronto, we are desperately waiting for that spring warmth to come through. I am so ready to put my winter gear away and opt for light jackets and some cute boots. I was pretty tempted to put in some autumn / spooky witch elements like some bats and pumpkins, but I thought that might clash with the spring atmosphere that I was going for, so maybe I'll have to revisit them at another Halloween time for a new illustration. Because, as some of you may know, Halloween and autumn is my absolute favorite. But enough about my random Halloween tangent. Something that I would also like to mention about Fracture is that while the examples that I've shown you guys are of my traditional watercolor and gouache paintings, you can definitely also print photographs with them as well. Whether you're a photographer or if you just wanted a unique way of displaying some of your favorite memories from even just your camera phone, it's a really nice and simple way of putting decor up without having to worry about the process of making the print and matting it and framing it and hanging it and, that whole spiel. And yeah, to make it even easier, all the glass prints you buy from Fracture automatically come with a little screw and they're ready to hang right away. And additionally, for those little ones, you can also buy a stand straight from their website and you can just prop them up on your desk, in your office, home, wherever you like. And to be honest, they are actually surprisingly light. I was quite surprised that they were not super heavy. So I actually used sticky tack for the gallery wall I showed you guys at the beginning of the video, which was actually such a relief because, as some of you may know, I am currently in the midst of rearranging and decorating my studio space, aka my bedroom that also functions as said studio space. So being able to not only receive these beautiful prints to help decorate my space, but knowing that they are light enough so that I can use non-permanent hanging solutions will make my life so much easier because I am incredibly indecisive and I know I'll probably move them around a few times before I commit to a particular spot or arrangement. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you're interested in a workspace / studio tour when I finally get around to finishing my said studio space. And then at this point in the illustration, I start committing to the darker values of the painting, strongly leaning on the gray / purple colors. And at the end, I end up giving the entire illustration a very light wash of pink to tie it all together. And as you can see, I'm just continuing to build the layers of watercolor up in this piece. And for the line work, I decided to use an acrylic ink because it is permanent after it dries. That way I could still go back in with more watercolor layers if I needed to and not have to worry about the line art budging or moving.
Two out the door, then you have magic.
And as always, I finished off the piece with some white highlights using my acrylic paint marker for that extra little sparkle. And here is the final illustration. In the end, I couldn't resist my need for punchy colors, so for the file I sent off to Fracture, I ended up increasing the saturation a little bit, and I actually love how it turned out. And if you're interested in grabbing some glass prints for yourself, check the description down below for a discount code for 30% off your purchase from now until April 1st. Thank you so much to Fracture for providing me with these beautiful glass prints, and thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one. Bye!